we got an emergency release done for the state of Kansas to approve it. They ran it in November, and the general ran great. No issues, so the stick management, and I'll let Toby speak to a little more depth, but I think I had to,
If you want to get that on, so
Oh.
it's better.
okay?
Okay. All right, that's on me. All right. So, yeah, I was there in Johnson for both their August and their general. And one thing, first of all, is, you know, we noticed it was taking a long time. Had we known what it was then, it wouldn't have taken all night, but we were troubleshooting and trying to figure out what happened. So, you know, we didn't get out of there, we didn't report until that morning, but had we sat down and had that figured out, it would have actually went through much faster. We would have been done way before that. What happened was there was inefficient code in the reporting module, and it really pertained a lot to the express code as a tabulator, master stick, and how they were using it. It didn't pertain as much to the 850 or the 200, but we were reading it in, and it was recalling code over and over and over again, and just slowing down the process. The results were accurate, everything came in, and everything read in fine. It was just taking a long time for those sticks to come in.
And not to interrupt, Toby, Johnson County was the first county in the country to use the tabulator.
Yeah.
Okay, so they used the express vote as a tabulator.
Right.
So
And
I think
Yes,
an
go ahead.
important point to make, reason Cuyahoga and other DS200 users that are on 6,000 or testing 6,000 weren't notified is they weren't impacted. It's only the ballot marking devices used as tabulators that were impacted by this particular issue. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but I would, just to counter that, like, I think part of the bigger issue is how was it not caught during testing? And just because that was the issue that time, it doesn't, you know, make me very confident in the testing process for even the next version. That would affect us, you know, with a different issue that I think is more of the concern here.
And I can
Yeah.
tell you, go ahead.
Volume is the answer. It's hard in a lab to mimic the type of volume that you see in a mega jurisdiction. But we've, based on the Johnson County, our president has laid down a mandate that says, I don't care what it costs internally, I want you to simulate volume of our mega jurisdictions. So other new products that are coming out, for example, the Express Vote XL, same thing. We took the largest possible user in the state of New Jersey where that product's being geared towards and did a mass test where we lined up over 700 machines, brought people in from the public, other technicians, and did essentially a county-wide simulation at 80% turnout on all these units, and then read them into electionware to make sure that we did. And that's going to be our standard going forward. So to your point, we are incorporating that into our testing from this point on.
I don't want to keep, you know, beating a dead horse here, but we've heard that before. We have, I can't remember what the version was that we were using in Unity. Brian, you might help me out here. But it actually ended up being decertified. And the very first thing was, well, it's volume. And we're going to test all of our stuff now based on, you know, jurisdiction and your size. We are one of the mega users. So I think that it should be a standard already, but is it really going to go to that now? Because even when we went with, I believe, our first time to election where we had a little, you know, bit of an issue with subset elections and not being able to use Unity, we thought we would be able to, we thought we'd be able to go to an 850 in Unity, and you know, through our testing and actually after we maybe had already signed the contract to purchase them, we realized no, you're going to have to go ahead and upgrade to electionware. Again, a capacity issue, and
Yeah, you had to split your election in half, right, or something on that?
we did. We had to get it to
Yeah. Yep.
and I think that it does, because of those experiences, we do test a lot more thoroughly here, but I don't want to get into a situation where we're doing an acceptance, an IB and P test, and the first thing we do is run into an issue with, based on capacity, so.
Yeah, and to just, we also ran all of this on that volume test. did the same thing, we took a warehouse, put, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but we did the same thing like we did with the XL with the 200, where we put a lot of people in place and they just voted all day long on 200s and then read those sticks in. So, I know you've heard it in the past, but we are incorporating those into all of our QA testing. It's something that we have to do now. We also try to test with current customer data. So we actually have a Cuyahoga election from the past that we have import files. So we try to bring that forward and test your actual data. So, any more
No.
questions on that? I will tell you though, in Johnson with the, so it took us a while to get that done, but in the general, with 1,000 more units in place than they had in the primary, we were done by 10. We were out of the door by 10 o'clock, so. Okay, so electionware, I'm gonna touch on kind of the highlights. Yeah.
Oh, I just did. Oh, sure.
Is it not
Is it a little
focused?
fuzzy?
Heather, we actually have a little table right over there in the corner if it needs to go even further back.
Well,
That's what the recorder's on.
But never mind.
Okay.
I'm like,
Is it big enough that you can see? Okay. Sure. So we're gonna talk 60-20 today. I'm not gonna go through a lot of it because a lot of it for you as election users right now, a lot of it hasn't changed. So I'm gonna hit the highlights on the front end of what's changed and some of the new features, and then we'll talk about what's really changed is the reporting modules. So ERM goes away, hooray, now we have something new, okay? One of the biggest things in the front end as far as capture goes is reporting groups is now in capture. And what that does is that replaces your ERM groups. So you know how on election night you had to load all your sticks into one. We said this before, that goes away. Now what you do is you build your reporting groups on the front end. So I can add an election day, an absentee mail, in-person early voting. I can add those reporting groups here, and then I can assign my polling places to them. So when I burn a stick, that stick knows exactly what reporting group it goes to. So I can sit down at a multi-client bench and just start plugging in sticks, and I don't have to stop the process to switch to a different group. Okay.
Is there a limitation on the number of groups you can have? Community was 5, and so I think on election where we have is 15.
Yeah, it went up to 14. I don't believe there's a limitation in this. You can build as many groups as you want as far as I don't know why you want to.
I don't know why you want to.
But yeah, we can accommodate as much as you're gonna have, right? So, so you would just, again, add the reporting group name and an abbreviation, that's it, okay? When you get down to the polling places, when you add a poll now, this is where you would assign that reporting group right here. So I can do my election day polls and I can drop that down and assign to whatever reporting group I want to. Okay? So that way when I burn the stick, it knows where it needs to go. Okay? In capture, that's really the biggest thing in the front. We still do languages. We support up to 14 languages. Everything else is pretty much the same within capture that you're used to now. We do election import. Do you guys import
We do.
files? Okay, so all that's the same. Do you use templates?
How would you assign the polling locations? Would you have to create multiple files for, like, if you want to assign every precinct election group, election day, or whatever?
Right.
You don't do multiple.
When you create it, you would do that, but you can create an import file that
Yeah,
includes all that
that's
information. Yep, so you would import reporting groups and you'd change your poll import to add the reporting group to it. Yep.
how will we do that on
What's that?
I was gonna say, how will we get that out of them?
I don't know that we can get it out of them, but it'd be something Helen has to do
Okay.
when she takes it to her process.
Okay.
There's one thing I wanted, I don't know if this is a good time to talk about it. How do you guys handle 17-year-old ballots? Refresh my memory.
We just put a stamp on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want you to think about a possibility that you could, with the configuration of DS200 and express votes, you could create a 17-year-old ballot set, and you can have that assigned to express vote only. And you can use the express vote for that, so you're not pre-printing anything. You would just direct all your 17-year-olds to your express vote. That's one way you could do 17-year-old ballots.
Yep. And what you would do that is you would just build a new ballot set. You could give it a name called 17 or whatever. And then you would just come down here and tell it to only use it with Express Vote. And it'll create a whole ballot set just for the Express Vote. Okay.
So instead of having to, do you remake?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get rid of it.
Or
Right.
presidential, Bernie Sanders, like
Yeah.
almost.
Yep, and you can come in here on the 17 and you can come over here and just tell it what you want to exclude. So I can just check mark off what I don't want assigned to that ballot stuff for 17s. Little paper saving cost. Yeah, reporting groups and polling places and ballot sets now is really what's the big difference in the front end of capture. Okay, any questions there? Yeah.
I know right now, like, kind of, once you set it up on the front end, like, and you're in the back half, you can't really go back into the front half without kind of like redoing the back half, like, maybe setting up your polls, then you're generating your DS data, and then you're kind of stuck, or else you're redoing stuff. What happens if, like, let's say, you're setting up a couple polling locations for, like, your provisional category or something, and, a month later, we come to find out, we need 5 more sticks for provisionals. How do you,
Sure. You can add a poll at any time. All you would do is go into capture, add the poll. You don't need to you have to generate your DS data and your accessible data again, and it would put just little red exclamation points on each of your polls. They will still read in fine. It's just telling you that they were generated at a different date. But you can always go back and add a poll